Sheffield Wednesday. 3, 2. Hello, Sounders. It's Mick here. It wasn't much fun, but someone's got to talk about it, and that's going to be me for the next few minutes. Defeat against Sheffield Wednesday. Let's go back a few days to Sunday the 14th. That was a big high for Pompey. Getting the better of a game against our new neighbours released us from the frustration and disappointment built up by years of failure to match their success in the football ladder. Finally, once again, we looked better than them. And everyone was watching. Everyone was watching, weren't they, Sounders? It was on live. It was on TV, on both channels, several channels, lots of channels. The result may have been a draw, but everyone could see Pompey were back. And although inexperienced compared with our lifelong rivals, the possibilities of rising above them in the Championship were real. But Sounders, one big high, one huge wave of emotion has to be used, not abused. You have to come down. I mean, this is a fact. What goes up must come down. You have to come down from that wave of emotion, but use the experience to improve long term. Pompey came down against Sheffield Wednesday. There was always going to be a reaction. People predicted it, I know, but lots of Pompey fans. And John Massinho knew that better than we did. He talked about it. He anticipated it. But he couldn't avoid it. He wasn't helped by facing the league's highest profile failures in Sheffield Wednesday on Saturday. A big team with 0 wins in the league. A team beaten by Grimsby during the week. A team beset by an owner from Thailand in Dejphon Chansarai who was desperate to get back. Who is desperate to get back the £37 million he paid Milan Mandaric for the club, only to find it wasn't worth it. Milan Mandaric, a much-loved Pompey former owner, of course, but not a man to make bad deals for himself. The resulting chaos of Chansarai's lack of commitment and care for Wednesday's players and fans has led to financial embargoes and future uncertainty, which chimes many memories for Pompey fans. Hence, Sounders, our willingness to show solidarity with Wednesday fans after 10 minutes of Saturday's game, when the Milton End raised their yellow and black scarves in a sea of protest at Chansarai and his floundering ownership of a great club. We knew, we understood what that was all about. Of course we did. We've been through it. We've been in that particular movie. And like the proper football fans we are, we duly applauded the wonderful turnout of Owls fans who'd made a heck of a journey, really, down to stand in the Milton End on the south coast. Just as we have done in the past, just as our wonderful away support follows the team in spite of everything. But these people, they're not going to have the future of their club ruined by someone who doesn't understand our football culture. That goes for us, that goes for Sheffield Wednesday. But, Sounders, all that didn't mean we wanted our team to hand them 3 points. Ah, the irony. As our signal of solidarity faded away in the applause we gave their fans, our team gave away a soft free kick on the edge of the penalty area and then watched Barry Bannon place it delicately inside the far post. All that clapping for that, a slap in the face. I mean, it did actually make people around me angry. Concentrate on the game, not on the problems of some northern city, they told me. But that demonstration wasn't why we lost a goal. We were under the cosh from the first whistle. They were up for it. Wednesday were obviously up for it. Pompey weren't. Just what John Mousinho hadn't wanted. Even after 6 recovery days, Pompey seemed drained of the adrenaline, the energy that's needed to fight for supremacy against any side, Wednesday or anybody else. Substitutions did help. You could say we were unlucky not to get something in the second half, but somehow team and supporters just didn't feel right. And the great anticlimax played out in front of us. Miserable stuff, Sounders. It really was, but it's done. We look at the team. Ben Killip is a worry. I think we've just got to be candid and honest about that. He is a worry to us. In spite of John Mousinho sort of obviously shoring him up and giving him a vote of confidence during the week. He does look a little uncertain. It's not surprising. It's not surprising. He's new. He's new to the team. He's new to playing in front of Fratton Park. He made a couple of good saves. I think we have to acknowledge that. One particular point blank from a header in the first 10 minutes, which he beat away. That was a good reflex save, and a couple of others in those first 10 minutes. But that didn't fill him with confidence, and we are very sensitive to a lack of confidence in our players, and we don't react well to it. I'm afraid we don't turn around and sort of give them the support they probably need. It's his distribution and just his general sense of security that worries us. But we'll have to see. It is very early days, and I'm probably I know I will be told by John Mousinho being pretty unfair to the guy. Conor Ogilvie was more. It was more interesting that he played than anything he did on the pitch against Wednesday. I mean, his resilience, his strength, his power of recovery is pretty incredible. It shouldn't be abused. I mean, we can't rely on it forever, but it is extraordinary that he was on the pitch. I thought on Saturday after the damage that was caused to him in that unfortunate incident against those up the road. I think I exempt Conor Ogilvie from too much criticism in the Wednesday game, but he didn't make a mark going forward, but he did okay defensively, and what can we say more about him than that? Regan Poole, I thought was one of our better players. He is an athletic guy, and when called upon in the second half to move wide and to maraud up the right in a 3, he did that very well. I mean, he's good. His manoeuvrability up the right flank is impressive, and I thought he had a good game for us. And was one of the few that carried the game to Wednesday in the second half. Conor Shaughnessy is one hopes desperately that the injury that it appeared to be a serious injury that he went down with off the ball, reacting to a long ball through to turn and chase back, and he went down. It wasn't particularly close to me. I didn't see the detail of it. I didn't actually see what where he was feeling his injury as he lay there and as he was helped off the pitch. It's just depressing. For him above all, of course, I acknowledge. For him above all, but for all of us to some degree, because we know what a fine player he is when he's fit. But how long can he stay fit is a massive question. We will hear all about it this week, I'm sure, as the tests go through. But it didn't look hopeful for the immediate future of Conor Shaughnessy. I'm sad to say. John Swift simply, for me, didn't get into the game against Wednesday. That wouldn't have been for lack of effort. But maybe he was one of the more drained members of the squad after Southampton. I don't know. He didn't really impose himself on the game. Colby Bishop's he wins, as always, so much of the ball. In spite of being against a taller opponent, his strength shows through, but he didn't link to either Chaplin or Bianchini or Segovic particularly effectively, it didn't seem to me. And it wasn't his greatest game. Adrian Segovic looked tired. And he will have better games for Pompey. I'm absolutely sure of that. It was apparent, I remember, that he's got such a left foot, and he wants to make use of it. And he was charged down a few times by good defending, and they probably know all about that already. Know all about his left foot. And they closed him down. He didn't get anything effective off, but it's a weapon, and we've got to find ways of freeing him up and allowing that to be more available and to have better opportunities of getting a shot in on goal. But we'll see better of Segovic. We certainly didn't see that against Wednesday. Florian Bianchini. He played the full 90 minutes, and that was probably because he promised, but it was flattery to deceive. He can look dangerous. He certainly looks more dangerous coming in on his right foot, but of course that's countered fairly easily by decent defenders when they're aware of it, and they certainly were aware of that. That's what he wanted to do. His left foot crosses were disappointing, just have to say that. And he looked disappointed and frustrated himself. He knows how important these games are for him. He's got to try and establish himself. at Pompey, having come from Swansea where he failed to do that. He can't afford to fail again at Pompey. So there's a certain sort of anxiety about the lad, maybe. But he didn't really look the answer to our problems on Saturday. Andre Dezelle, I'm biased, but I thought he was our best player. However much I'm biased, I think he had a decent game compared with most, and looked as frustrated as we all felt about the way the game went. Zach Swanson actually did okay himself, I thought. I mean, it was perhaps slightly unlucky to be substituted, but he had got booked for what I'm assured. I thought it was a decent tackle. It was very close to me under the south stand, but Russ, who I sit with, was adamant that it was a foul. So, and he probably got what he deserved. So anyway, it wasn't his best game, wasn't his worst game. Connor Chaplin didn't get into the game. He will be deeply frustrated by that performance. And we will expect and look for and see better from Connor as time goes on. It was disappointing for him. Obviously, patently obviously, on Saturday. We did look better for our substitutions. Pretty much all of them came on and made an effective contribution. Josh Knight is a good player. I think there's no doubt about it. And he looked quality, and he looked comfortable, and he looked comfortable carrying the ball as well. And we may well, so it would seem, we may well see a lot more of Josh Knight from now on. Hayden Matthews also looked good. He looked comfortable on the ball. He was, in fact, probably our closest to scoring when he stabbed that ball into the goal mouth. Where the big lanky guy, who's Dominic Iorfa, a man who was prepared to battle it out, and came over to the touchline and had a fair old few words with one or two fans of ours under the south stand at one point in time. I think they were complaining over that he was taking too much time over throws, but he was prepared to give it back. Anyway, I think he made the goal line block of Hayden Matthews' effort. But Hayden Matthews, again, I think he's a quality young man, and we won't be disappointed by him ultimately, I don't think. Luke LaRue improved the team when he came on at half time, and he's sort of getting into the speed and the rhythm of the championship, and I think he's going to be just fine. Less so Mark Kosnowski, who didn't manage to impose himself. Of course it takes time to understand the championship and to understand what John Mousinho is going to require of you in the championship. All I would say was they were important minutes that he shared on the pitch, but he didn't yet look like he was going to change a game. And Mackenzie Kirk, I thought, was an interest. I didn't think he should play. I didn't want him to play because I didn't feel that he'd had enough time to settle in and to look comfortable. And the problem for new players is that when they get an opportunity at Fratton Park, they need to impress sort of fairly quickly, because if they don't, the audience, our supporters, don't necessarily warm to you, you need to sort of make a quick impression, or it's helpful if you do. And I didn't want Mackenzie Kirk to come on and disappoint from the very beginning, because people would start to say, "Oh gosh, we've signed someone from Scottish Championship, and why are we doing that and stuff?" And he's obviously a young player of great promise, but he looked okay, and he's got a bit of pace and a bit of good close control. And again, like Kosnowski, he needed minutes, so it won't have done him any harm to come on. So that was our side. I just want to mention one of their side, because you couldn't ignore Barry Bannon. Or anyway, if you're a proper football fan, you shouldn't ignore Barry Bannon, because he's a delight. He's always been a delight whenever I've seen him. In many appearances against Pompey, he's always done his stuff. He's a really terrific servant to the Owls. I looked him up a little bit. He's played for 10 years with the Owls, but before that he played in the Premiership with various other clubs. His granddad, Saunders, was a professional footballer who scored over 100 goals for Wrexham in the 50s, before you were born. And what else did I discover about him? He underwent, here's a thing, this tells you something about Barry Bannon. By the time he was 7, by the age of 7, he'd had 4 big operations. That's tough. That's tough on a little kid. And he came through it, and here he is in his 36th year, still playing just great. I made a note of it, Sounders, he was closing on Killip, closing him down in the 95th minute of the game with immense pace and determination and effort. What a man, what a player. The sort that you like to have in your club. We've had our share. But well done to him for yesterday. Or whenever you're going to hear this, well done to him for his performance for Sheffield Wednesday. I'm now going to mention my own favourite Pompey player of over the years, because I saw him yesterday. It just puts everything into context, Sounders, because that was a rough old game. We didn't enjoy it. We couldn't enjoy that. Very few people stopped to give the players a clap after the game. It's always sad, that, but it's sort of human nature, and you understand it. And I think even the players, as they walk round and clap at the non-existing fans in the stands, they understand it as well. But I just want to mention Knightsy, Alan Knight. I saw him after the game. I mean, he's got a battle with cancer. You know that he is vocal about it because he wants everyone to be tested, and he wants everyone to have the best possible opportunity to avoid or deal with cancer. And he told me at the moment, I've got this cancer under control. And he looked good. Sounders, you'll be pleased to hear that. He looked good, and his grip was as strong as ever when I shook his hand. I love the man, and I'm so pleased that he's winning the battle that is cancer. Okay, so onwards, and it's got to be upwards, hasn't it? We've got a run of hard games coming up. Ipswich is immediately next to Middlesbrough, Leicester in the next 4. Reality bites, Sounders, but we'll be okay. On to Ipswich and play up Pompey.